Hi everybody. I chose to do my hours at a Head Start program since I am a preschool teacher. I completed these hours at the Akron Holy Cross location. Um, I worked with Miss Arlene Cummings. She was fabulous. Then she had really no idea what flipped learning was, so I introduced it to her. And then we came up with 2 mini lessons for the kids to practice at home. The letter D was the first one. We have the standards here for the ISTE, the coaching standards. And then if you move down a little bit, we have the pre-kindergarten foundations for the Common Core. Now, it is similar to the regular Common Core standards with the exception that my kids are young, that a lot of it does not apply, so we use the foundations. Also, at a Head Start program, we use Teaching Strategies Gold, which has their own objectives and observations inside of the program. All right, for the lesson, I provided each child with a DVD of the letter D video, which I have included in this paper here. I just did it on a DVD just to be safe in case the parents didn't have access to internet at home. I had asked all the parents if they had access to a DVD player, which all of them said yes. After the video was viewed at home, when the kids came back to school the next day during circle time, I had them show their items that they brought in that started with the letter D. Now, they enjoyed this a lot. They each brought in 3 little items that started with the letter D. They explained what they were. And then after this, we broke up into small groups. The first small group we had was with shaving cream. Shaving cream was put on the table for them to use to write the letter D, capital and lowercase. A lot of them had fun with this. There were a few kids that didn't like the feeling of it, so we ended up giving them something to manipulate it with instead of their fingers due to sensory issues. In the second group, each child was provided a sheet of paper. They were to write a capital and a lowercase d on the line provided, and then they were going to draw a picture of something that starts with the letter D. This picture here is a picture of one of the little girl's fathers. So she wrote the letter D, and then she said D, Daddy. In the third group, there were many different objects to be played with to make the letter Ds. This picture here was made the letter D, capital D, out of yarn, and there were little figurines on the yarn. I had provided results for the children, whether or not they understood or if they could properly do this task. So let me click on here to bring you to my results. The kids had a lot of fun with this. They got really kind of confused, though, a lot of the parents said, when we were sending home videos for them to learn at home. But they generally, I got the idea. Okay, as we see here, I broke up into small group number 1, completed correctly, small group number 2 if they completed it correctly, and small group number 3 if they completed it correctly. Now, I just used the children's initials for security purposes. So small group number 1 was with the shaving cream. Almost all of the kids were able to do it correctly with the exception of 3 of them. This little girl right here was not able to complete this correctly because she did not understand how to correctly write the letter. The same goes for the AL child and the AH child. This was due to not understanding how to correctly write them as well. That same follows for the AL child and the AH child for all 3 categories of the small group. As for the LO, she was pulled for speech and then she was picked up early. And due to being picked up early for a vacation, I did not see her for the remainder of my time there, or else I would have worked with her in a small group setting later on in the day, which I did with AL and AH. And once I was completed in the small group, they were able to understand how to write the letter D in the capital form and the lowercase form. Let's go back over here. Okay. Now, the second lesson that I completed was for AB patterns. The children pretty much got a basic overview through a video on what an AB pattern is. Out of the 14 students in the class, there was 5 of them absent for this lesson, which made the small groups a little easier. Since I had very little children, I just broke them up into 3 groups of 3 children in each. In my first group, I was able to use my iPad with them. I used an app called Glow Paint to do an AB pattern. I had to help them out with this because it was a little bit complex for them, but they seemed to enjoy this a lot. I'm going to have the flipogram right here, which shows their AB patterns that they created. The second group was given 2 color of connecting cubes, and they were to make an AB pattern out of those, which they use those a lot, the cubes. In the third group, here's an example of their blocks. The third group was given worksheet and 4 different colored markers, and they had to draw their own AB pattern. They didn't have to draw, they had to use whatever colors they liked, 2 of them for each pattern, and they were to fill in the blank spaces with the AB pattern with the 2 different colors that they chose. The results for those are as follows. Okay, so the results I did basically the same as in my letter D small groups. I have the children's initials, if they completed it correctly. Like I said earlier, there was a lot of my students absent that day, so I wasn't able to get everybody. The 2 children that scored no, that they could not complete them correctly, was due to not watching the video. All of the other children were able to do the AB patterns correctly. I had found out that the children didn't watch the video because the one child came up to me and said, I did not watch the video at home, and then later in the day I was able to speak with the parents. The one child was not able to watch the video because he was at his grandparents' house the night before due to a family emergency, and then the other child was not able to watch it because he did not want to watch the video. He was refusing to sit down. He got upset and he wanted no part of it. So the parents pretty much told me they picked their battles with this child. After completing this flipped lessons for a preschool classroom, I have realized it is very difficult. Very difficult. I have tried it in my own classroom. I'm slowly working on getting everybody on board. It's just hard because everybody's low income. A few of my kids don't even have TVs at their house. It's going to be a difficult process, but I am very confident that I am able to do it. Miss Arlene Cummings, she is keeping in contact with me because she is impressed with the flipped learning experience, and she would like to keep on adding it into her daily teaching activities. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope it gives you a basic overview into how flipped learning can take place in a preschool setting. Have a nice day, everybody.